everyone. I'm Hanna Rodriguez, and I'm here with Body Wisdom Yoga by Hanna on Facebook. And today we are going to practice yoga to remember and to honor those affected by postpartum and maternal PTSD. So, a few facts about what postpartum PTSD is and why I've decided to raise awareness for it. First of all, I want to mention 2020 Moms. We're raising funds for 2020 Moms, which is a advocacy organization, a nonprofit that helps to improve access to maternal mental health services and helps women, helps advocate for women's reproductive uh, services for help for mental health. Anyway, so this is a yoga class to promote birth-related maternal PTSD, which is diagnosed in approximately 3.1% of women who have recently given birth. Birth-related PTSD occurs when a birthing mother experiences life-threatening circumstances to herself and or the baby before, during, or after birth. Traumatic birth experiences can impact the mother-baby relationship in the months that follow the birth, and this can be a very isolating experience for mothers suffering with birth-related PTSD. Additionally, non-birthing partners can also experience birth-related PTSD when they witness a life-threatening experience for the birthing mother or the baby. So that's postpartum PTSD, where a mom has a traumatic event during the birth, and you can also have trauma occur during pregnancy or after the birth. So that's why I put maternal and postpartum PTSD, because trauma can happen anytime in relation to pregnancy and birth and postpartum. So the reason I wanted to promote awareness of this condition is because stigma around new motherhood and maternal mental health can prevent women from seeking necessary services to recover from birth-related PTSD. As a society, we need to normalize seeking help for maternal mental health conditions. The transition to motherhood is an intense, emotional, deeply personal transformation, a challenging time that is like no other experience in life. We need to support women with a community as they recover from pregnancy and birth, while also learning how to care for their new baby. So I recently had a child almost 8 months ago, and circumstances around my pregnancy were that the pandemic occurred concurrently with my pregnancy, and it was really quite traumatic to experience the pandemic while also, going through my first pregnancy and expecting a child. And so in my own personal experience, I found it quite difficult to find a community, to find support, to find the services that I need in order to be okay. And so my mental health was impacted by that. And so I've been working on recovering from that really difficult experience. And also there were some issues related to the birth itself, and some health issues after the birth that were really hard for me to get through. And so as I have recovered and, sought my own counseling and my own therapy and just really worked to improve my mental health through that, I realized that, this is a huge transitional time for women, and becoming a mother is a huge transitional time for women, and we deserve to have a community of support and to have, other women and other people there who can help us in these times. And because I didn't have that, I wanted to create that for myself and for other women. And so I've developed this passion for helping women through pregnancy and birth and postpartum, because not only are you experiencing like a lot of physical changes in your body, hormonal changes can affect your emotional and mental health, as well as, you know, everything that's going on like outside of your body, like in your personal life. There's a lot of transition and change going on there. Your relationships have to change. And if that's not enough, you know, you have this tiny little human who is completely dependent on you. And then going through birth itself is a really obviously painful and hard thing to do. It's like a marathon. So, yeah, I really want to be able to bring services and bring yoga to this community and create something for women who are going through something similar to what I experienced, or different. So, the purpose of this class is to cultivate mind-body connection during pregnancy and after birth, when women experience huge changes in their physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies. I will provide variations appropriate for pregnancy and postpartum throughout the practice. This is going to be a gentle hatha yoga flow, and we will use some props, which are a chair, a yoga ball. You can have a bolster, a cushion, blocks, strap. Those are optional, but I do recommend a chair and or a yoga ball, which I have behind me, and I'll have to grab them as I'm teaching today. So all right. Before we get started with our flow today, I want to give some basic guidelines for prenatal and postpartum women. First of all, this is not prenatal or postpartum certified yoga. This is hatha yoga with modifications for pregnant and postpartum women. So there's a difference there in that I'm not certified in prenatal yoga. So instead I teach hatha yoga with modifications. So, of course, speak to your doctor and make sure that you're cleared to exercise before you begin any kind of exercise program. And make sure that you listen to your body and don't push yourself too hard in your yoga practice. In pregnancy, avoid laying on your back or your belly. Avoid deep back bends and twists. Widen the stance when folding forward to make space for your belly, and bend the knees. Use a chair or support of some kind when practicing balancing poses. Go slow, take it easy, and don't push yourself too hard. Remember, your body is going through lots of change right now, and so we don't want to overstretch or hurt ourselves in any way. During the postpartum period, from 6 weeks up to 1 year after birth, go easy on your body. Avoid deep twists and poses that place a lot of pressure on the abdominal wall, such as deep back bends, crunches, boat poses, and poses that place gravitational pull on the belly. Also, it may be uncomfortable to perform wide-legged poses due to pelvic instability. These poses can be modified by bringing the legs closer together. Additionally, using your Kegel muscles while you're practicing, so like holding that Muladhara lock, or pulling the pelvic muscles in and bringing the belly button back towards the spine. That helps to brace your core and helps to build strength back into those muscles that were overstretched in your core, and also it helps to protect the low back from all of the shifting weight. So whether you're pregnant or postpartum or just in general, the rule of thumb is to engage the pelvic floor and draw the navel in to keep the core nice and active during your yoga practice. And of course, avoid feel free to avoid, change, or modify any of these poses to make it more appropriate for your body today. So we're going to begin our yoga practice in easy seat. So I'm going to move back. Let's see. Hold on just a second. I need to adjust my screen just a little bit. One moment. Please excuse me as I am learning as well as we go. All right. So we're going to start in an easy seat. So coming down onto your yoga mat. If you have a cushion or a block, you can place that under the hips. And then whichever foot you typically keep in front or on top, see if you can switch them. So I'm putting my left foot in front of my right. And so it might feel a little different, a little off. But this helps to practice balance and brings a little bit more mindful awareness into the body when you have like a little bit of a different feeling or sensation. So starting in easy seat, we always start with a breath work practice. And so today, let's begin with a simple box breath, which is count to 4 on the inhale, hold for 4, count to 4 on the exhale, hold for 4. Now, if you are pregnant, avoid holding your breath, and you can exchange that for a 6 count in and a 6 count out. So as you inhale, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Let's try that again. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, holding, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's the box breath. So let's take a moment or two to just practice mindful breathing. You can practice the box breath if you like on your own in your own time. So let's take a moment. Maybe you close your eyes, or you can have the eyes open. Husband and daughter just went through. Don't mind them. Alright. So let's let go of the box breath, and now let's practice what's called the ujjayi breath, which is where we create a slight constriction in the back of the throat as we breathe in and out. And so I like to also call ujjayi breath the ocean breath, because it sounds like the waves of the ocean crashing on the shoreline. So again, trying to create a slight constriction. Excellent job. So you can place the tongue on the roof of the mouth if you're having a little bit difficulty kind of figuring out how to practice this breath. Just placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth can help. It takes a little bit of playing with this breath if you're a beginner to really find it, but once you do find it, then it can be quite a comforting breath. And so I would recommend using this ujjayi breath throughout your entire practice because it helps to soothe the nervous system and regulate the nervous system. So we're going to practice a series of postures which will take about 40 minutes from here. Again, feel free to modify, change, or avoid any of these postures if you'd like. You can always come to a seated pose or child's pose, like on your knees with your hands on the ground, with your forehead on the ground if you'd like, or any other resting pose that you'd prefer if you like to skip out on any sequence of postures. So we'll begin by warming up the spine and pairing the breath with movement in this seated position. So we'll start with some seated spinal circles. So placing the hands on the knees, we'll inhale, and as you exhale, move to the left, and then bring the chest forward, moving to the right, and bringing the head back around. So inhaling, moving forward, exhale, moving back and around. Trying to pair it with that ocean-sounding ujjayi breath. You might need to either slow down the movement or speed up the breath, just noticing what you're feeling today. So let's practice 3 rounds at our own pace. Noticing what you're feeling in the abdomen, in the lower back, in the chest, in the hips, in the pelvic girdle. If you feel any pain, remember to back out and take it a little easier. And then once you've completed, let's move in the opposite direction. So as you inhale, moving to the right this time and forward. Exhaling to the left and back. Remembering to try to keep that pelvic floor and abdominal lock active to activate the core. I'm feeling a little tight today. Maybe you are too. Just try to allow your breath to loosen up any areas of tightness or soreness, especially if you're carrying around a little infant all day. You might know what I'm talking about. Your back might be sore. All right, coming back to stillness, coming back to center. Again, engage that navel lock, engage the core. We're going to move front to back with some seated cat-cows. So as you inhale, opening the chest, looking up. Exhale, rounding chin to chest. Inhale, lifting and opening. See if you can roll the shoulders back. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, opening. Exhale, rounding forward. Noticing what you feel along the back body, along the spine. You could even do as I'm doing with the fingertips on the shoulders. Awesome job. Now let's move into some side stretches. And before we move into that, I just want to explain that all of these movements are helping to loosen up the spine and the muscles along the spine so that you can have greater flexibility, and also it helps to create strength and stability in the core to practice these gentle movements. So it helps to improve the range of motion, and because you're pairing it with the breath, this helps the vagus nerve, tones the vagus nerve, which is a part of your nervous system that regulates things like your heartbeat, your blood flow, your emotions, your reactions to stress, and all of those things. So super good for you. So as you inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. And then as you exhale, we're going to tick-tock over to the right side. So placing the right hand on the mat. Again, keep the navel drawn in. And we're going to arch up first and then over. So we're not crunching and twisting, but we're reaching up and over. So keeping the ribs knitted down and in the same plane of motion. Finding your deep breath. Let's take 3 breath cycles here. Noticing the expansion in the left side body and the ribs. This can feel really nice, especially when you're pregnant and short of breath. This helps to open up that lung capacity. And on your next inhale, lift the hands. We're going to tick-tock over, arching over to the right side. Again, keeping the right arm lifting up and over. Keep the navel drawn in. Keep the breath flowing. Look up or down or look forward. Or you can even close the eyes to draw the senses inside or inward. Let's take about 3 more breath cycles here. As you're ready, coming back to center, and then we're going to move into a seated twist. So placing the right hand on the left knee, place the left hand next to the left hip, and if you are pregnant or postpartum, really be careful that you're not cranking yourself into the twist, but what you're trying to do is lift up from the spine, so you have a nice tall spine. Squeeze the belly in, and then gently allow the belly button to move slightly towards the left, then the shoulders, and then the head. But we don't want to over twist in the abdomen here. Again, find that deep breaths. Let's take 5 rounds of breath. On your next inhale, first turn the chin back to center, then the chest and the navel, and then we'll float the arms up to the sky, and we'll repeat that on the opposite side. So allowing the hands to just gracefully fall into place. Draw the navel in, a nice long spine, sitting up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, shifting the belly, then the chest, and then the head. So we want most of the twist to be in the shoulders and in the neck, not so much in the abdomen. Okay. 5 breaths here. As you complete your breath cycles, exhale, bring the chin back to center, then the chest, and then the hands can come onto the knees. Awesome job. Next, we're going to practice some cat-cow. So coming onto the hands and knees, to get yourself there. If you are pregnant, it can be useful to keep the knees a little bit wider here, and then you can bring the toes together, or they can be straight out. Wherever you are, you want to just make sure you keep that core engagement here. So we're really trying to build strength and stability in the core, whether you're pregnant or postpartum. That's a big part of this. And so as you inhale, we're not dropping the belly, but we're keeping integrity in the core, in the lower back, and we're just rolling open the heart, looking forward. Maybe you look up with the eyes, but really trying to keep that neutral engagement in the low back, so we're not dipping the hips too much. And then as you exhale, round through the upper back, the forehead can drop low. I like to move my hips back over the heels because I feel like I get a better stretch in the lower back. That's an option too. Let's move through 5 cat-cows with that ujjayi breath, moving slowly at your own pace. So as you inhale, rolling open the heart, looking forward, keeping the core drawn in. Exhale, rounding the upper back, drop the forehead. Moving at your own pace. Noticing what you feel in the upper back, in the chest, in the mid-back, in the lower back, and in the hips, and the pelvic girdle. This is a really, really nice exercise for strengthening the back, keeping the core activated, and also getting rid of any tension or back pain that you may have as a new mom. And as you're ready, we're going to drop the heels back, or drop the hips back over the heels. Some options that you have here to keep your knees really nice and wide, especially if you're pregnant. If you're postpartum and this feels uncomfortable to have the knees wide, you can bring them in a little bit closer, just making sure that your body is comfortable. And then you can bring the hips back over the heels, making space for the belly and the abdomen. You can also place a block or a cushion under the hips to give yourself some more support in the pelvic area, the hips. And then walking the hands out overhead. This is called child's pose. You can place the head on the floor or place a block under the forehead to give yourself a little bit more space and to keep the torso up off of the ground. Let's take 5 rounds of breath here in child's pose. Drawing the senses in. Feeling the ground support you. Keeping the breath flowing, nice and easy. And when you complete your 5 rounds of breath here, we're going to come back up into tabletop position and we're going to practice thread the needle. So this is another great pose to use your blocks. So if you have your blocks handy, you can place the hands up on blocks. I don't have my blocks right now, but if I had them, I would place my hands like this so that I can have a little bit more height. And then you can also have the knees nice and wide, or they can be directly under the hips, whatever you feel you're needing today. Again, keep that navel nice and active here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place the left hand kind of more towards the center of the mat, and then reach the right hand up for a gentle twist. And as you exhale, threading the needle, the right hand slides across the mat, and then maybe the right hand can come down. You can come down onto that right temple, or you can allow the head to rest on a cushion or a block. Maybe the left hand walks up and over to add a little bit to this upper body twist. Remembering to keep the core nice and active and engaged here. Another thing you can do here is add some rounds of Kegels to strengthen the pelvic girdle. You have all kinds of options and variations. Taking a couple more rounds of breath. And as you're ready, place the left hand, reach the right hand up to the sky on your inhale, and then exhale, drop the right hand down. We're going to move into that twist on the right side. So as you inhale, lift the left hand, open the heart, a gentle opening twist. Exhale, thread the needle, left hand slides across the mat, bringing the left temple down onto the floor. Maybe the right hand walks up and over. Taking a few rounds of breath. And as you're ready, placing that right hand back down, inhale, lift the left hand up to the sky, and then drop it back down into tabletop pose. So we're going to move into our downward facing dog. So beginning to tuck the toes under, placing the hands. I like to turn my hands out just slightly so that my elbows turn in. This protects the joints of the arm and provides proper alignment. So tucking the toes, the feet can be as wide as the yoga mat or wider. And then beginning to lift off the knees. Let's take a couple rounds of breath. You can keep the knees bent as much as you need to. You can bend and straighten the knees. And if you need to come down, do so. Taking a few rounds of breath, warming up your downward facing dog. Or you can take a little puppy stretch with the knees on the ground. And also, if you have a blanket, you can have your knees padded with the blanket if your knees are on the ground. Trying to keep the navel drawn in, nice and active. And as you're ready, drop the knees back down. We're going to look forward and find our way to a forward fold. So I like to kind of swing my feet out and around, one foot, and then the other can kind of hop up, and trying to keep the feet nice and wide, especially if you're pregnant. You can also keep the knees bent here. Keep the navel drawn in. And then you can sway side to side if that feels good. But if that doesn't feel so good, you can always bring the hands up to the knees and bend the knees nice and well here. Try to keep the core engaged. You can sway side to side. This will help to stretch the hamstrings. Keeping the breath flowing, finding what you need here. Keep the core active. And as you're ready, bend the knees, slowly lifting yourself all the way up to mountain pose. If you'd like, you can have the hands come up to touch overhead. Excellent effort, everyone. All right, we're going to move through a little vinyasa flow here. So this is going to move a little bit faster, just so that we can get our hearts pumping a little, get a little bit of cardio in today. So as we exhale, we're going to bend the knees into chair pose. So the feet can be nice and wide here, keeping the navel drawn in. Pelvic floor is nice and active. And then as we exhale, hinging forward into our forward fold. Great job. So we're going to step the left foot back into a lunge. You can kind of walk it back, keeping the feet as wide as the mat or wider. Exhale to drop that back knee down. Inhale. See if you can bring the hands onto the knees or lift them up to the sky, a low crescent lunge. Really trying to keep the navel drawn in. Then as you exhale, bring the hands down to the earth. Tuck the back toes under. We're coming up into a high crescent lunge. So inhale, bring the hands onto the knee, untuck the back knee, and then if you can bring if you'd like, you can bring the hands up to that high crescent pose, or just keep them down on that knee, whatever feels right for you today. On an inhale, we're going to open up into our warrior two. We're going to move into a little warrior two flow. So as you exhale, drop the elbow onto the knee, lift the left hand, rolling the heart open. Inhale, dropping the left hand to the back leg, cartwheeling up into a reverse warrior. Exhale, elbow to front knee, extended angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Let's do 2 more of those. Exhale, extended angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Last one. Exhale, extended angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Keep the navel drawn in here. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to turn the toes so that we're going to turn the toes so that we're in our 5-pointed star. Bringing the hands onto the hips. Maybe we take a little breath here, a little rest. Then placing the hands on the low back so you can roll the heart open, roll the shoulders open, squeeze the navel in. And as you exhale, bend the knees nice and wide, nice and generously. And we're going to rock forward halfway. Now if you're in postpartum and this feels a little bit uncomfortable in the pelvic girdle or in the hips, you can bring the feet together a little bit more. See if that feels a little bit better for you. And then allowing the hands to fall down to the earth into a wide-legged forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And as you're ready, inhale. Coming up halfway with the hands on the knees. Take a breath. Inhale all the way back up. We're going to move into a goddess squat. So if this is uncomfortable for you, please feel free to either skip goddess altogether or take a variation such as simple chair pose. But if you want to try goddess squat, begin to turn the feet out at about a 45-degree angle, and then let the knees track out at the same degree with the knees. So they want to be in line with one another. And then as you inhale, see if you can reach the arms up with the elbows bent, like so. Squeeze the navel in, really, really nice and active pelvic floor here. And we'll flow with some squats in and out of goddess pose. So as you inhale, straightening, the hands come across the body. Exhale, bending, squatting. Inhale, straightening. Exhale, squatting. This strengthens the inner thigh muscles, the groin area, and the glutes. All right. Great job. Bringing the hands together at heart center, point the toes forward. Moving into what's called malasana squat or garland pose. What we're going to do is find our way bring our hands down to the earth or onto blocks, and then find our way down into a very low squat. So you can use a cushion or a block under the seat if you like here. And if this doesn't feel right to you in your body today, feel free to take that easy seat with the knees folded in front of you. But the purpose of this goddess squat is to create more flexibility and openness in the hips, which is great for preparing for labor. Let's take 5 rounds of breath in this pose, or wherever you are. Just taking 5 rounds of mindful breathing, noticing how your body's feeling right now in this moment. And as you're ready, we're going to move back into that forward fold. So placing the hands onto the earth, straightening the legs. Maybe you sway side to side, or you can bring the hands onto the knees if that feels better for you. Remembering to keep the navel drawn in. The feet are nice and wide here to make space for our belly. And as you're ready, we're going to inhale, coming up into mountain pose. The hands can come up overhead, and then release down to the heart on the exhale. Take a moment to breathe, steadying. And we're going to move through that flow on the opposite side. So, let's see. Coming to the top side of your mat, inhale, lift the arms, exhale, letting the hips come down and back into your chair pose. Exhale, hinging forward, forward fold, remembering nice wide legs here, bent knees. Planting the hands, we're going to step back into our low lunge with the opposite leg. So left leg forward, right leg behind, and dropping that back knee, keeping the feet on train tracks so that you have a nice wide stable base. Inhale to lift up. Hands are either on the front knee or they lift up into high crescent lunge, keeping the navel drawn in here. Exhale, hands come down to the earth, tuck the back toes under, high crescent lunge, roots rise, inhale, lifting up, 1 breath cycle. On your next exhale, pivot on the back leg, coming into our warrior 2 pose. We're going to move into that warrior 2 flow. So on the exhale, extended angle, elbow to knee, lift the right arm, roll open across the heart, roll open across the belly. Exhale, reverse warrior. Right hand comes down to the back leg. Arching, lifting, up and over with the left hand. Keep the navel drawn in. Exhale, extended angle. Let's do 3 more of these flows. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended angle. All right, last time. Make it count. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended angle. Excellent job. Inhale, coming all the way up, straighten the front leg, turning the toes forward. Take a moment to catch your breath. We're in 5-pointed star. We're going to move into that wide-legged forward fold. Again, remembering if you need to bring the legs closer together, you can do so. Bringing the hands onto the hips or onto the low back. Inhale, a gentle back arch. Exhale, hinging from the hips. Draw the navel in, coming halfway forward into our forward fold. Maybe the hands come down onto the earth. Maybe the forehead reaches down to the earth. You can sway side to side, shaking loose any tension in the neck and shoulders and back. Finding what you need here today. And then as you're ready, bring the hands back onto the knees. Bend the knees. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Excellent work. All right, we're moving into that goddess squat here. So again, 5-pointed star. Turn the toes out slightly. The knees are tracking with the toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, lifting. Let's do 5. Exhale, squat. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, squat. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, squat. Inhale, lifting. Last one, exhale, squat. Inhale, lifting. Awesome. Now turn the toes back to forward. Maybe you shake the feet out. We're going to move into that Malasana squat here. Remembering your variation that you took if you did so last time. Inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come down to the earth. Bending the knees. Finding your way to that low squat here. Maybe you sway side to side. Just really trying to find opening in the hips. And then finding some stability, finding some stillness. Trying to lift from the crown of the head as if your spine is like on a string, like a puppet. So trying to create a nice long spine. Let's take a few rounds of breath, just noticing what you're feeling today. Remembering that Ujjayi ocean breath. Nice active pelvic floor. Core is drawn in. Strengthening while we stretch. Placing the hands onto the earth. We're going to move into our forward fold. So straightening the legs. Maybe the hands walk up halfway onto the knees. Or you can sway side to side, just allowing the head to hang heavy here for a moment. Finding what you need. And then on an inhale, coming all the way up, mountain pose. Excellent. Let's take a moment for breath as I introduce the next poses. We're going to move into some balancing poses. So I'm going to grab my chair. So we're going to try tree pose. So I have 3 variations for you to try with the chair. The first one is simply using the chair as a means of support for your hands. You can have one or both hands on the chair. If you have both, you might want to be actually facing the chair. But what you're going to do is you're going to place all the weight in the standing leg. So I'm starting with my right leg, then turn the left knee out and find placement of the left heel on the right leg. Keep the right knee slightly bent for stability, and then see where you'd like to place the hands. So I like to call the hands your tree branches. They can reach out and up. They can stay at your heart. Whatever you want to do. Keep the navel drawn in. Pressing the legs together actively. Excellent. So that's one option. Another option is you can actually turn the chair to face towards you, and you can root through your standing leg and then place the knee on the chair, and so that the supported leg is not pressing into the standing knee. You can try it like this, or you could even place the heel of the supported leg on the chair, and then you can create like a little side arch. So you can take any one of those 3 variations of tree pose, just finding what you need here, and then trying to give yourself the same variation on the opposite side. So sometimes our sides feel a little bit different. So just finding some semblance of balance. So since I did these poses on the left side, I'm going to do them on the right standing leg as well. So just finding grace, finding flow, finding balance. Keep the navel drawn in, nice and active. Oh, I think I've said that like 30 times today. All right, and then I'm gonna do this side as well. Just playing around with those 3 variations. Feel free to do what your body's telling you to do with those balancing poses. Let's take about 3 more rounds of breath. As you move in and out of your tree pose. And as you're ready, dropping the feet down, maybe shaking out the heels, maybe taking a gentle twist here from side to side. Then we're going to come down onto our bottoms and begin to close out our practice for today. So if you have a blanket, you can place the blanket down for some support. You can also use a cushion, whatever you need here. But just mindfully finding your way down onto a seated position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cushion and my yoga ball, and I'm going to place my chair behind the yoga ball just to keep it from rolling. Rolling away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place, my hips are going to sit on the cushion, and then I'm going to roll, trying to find like a really centered balance, so where your hips are even. And then what we're going to do is just allow ourselves to just lean back on the ball. You can also place the ball in front of a wall so it doesn't move. I feel the chair kind of slipping out behind me. So just trying to find comfort here, rolling open the heart. Even place the hands underneath the back of the head for a gentle shoulder opening stretch. Taking some long, slow breaths. Letting any thoughts fade away. No need to focus on anything else other than this moment. Giving your gift of this present moment, being present with your body, being present with your baby. Focusing on your breath. Focusing on nourishing your body, sustaining it, repairing it, loving your body. It's the only one you've got. As you breathe, noticing any areas of tension within your body, in the face, in the neck, in the jaw. And you release 5%, at least 5% of that tension. Notice your arms, your shoulders, your chest. Release any tension. Your ribs, your upper belly, your back, your belly button, your hips and pelvic girdle. Release. Your thighs, your upper legs, your glutes. Releasing 5% of that tension. Your knees, calf muscles, feet and toes. Releasing. Releasing any stuck energy or trapped emotions held anywhere within your body. imagine you can just let that go. Be here now with your breath. Feeling the earth lifting up to support you. You are safe in this moment. You are held in this moment. You are loved and supported in this moment. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. Letting go of resistance, just allowing, watching yourself feel. Letting go of judgment. Letting go of trying to fix or change anything. Just allowing yourself to be. Feel free to stay in this pose as long as you like, or take another version of Shavasana if you'd like. If you are pregnant, I recommend laying on the left side rather than on the back. Finding what you need in this meditative moment. Feel free to stay in this final resting pose for as long as you need. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.